make too much money, we don't think you deserve it. Cool, give it to somebody who needs it. But to act like black people in this country don't deserve reparations is absolutely nuts to me. Hey, this is what I want. Put it like this, America. Just treat black people like they're F-35 fighter jets. You had $1.7 trillion to throw at that bullshit. Throw it at the people who actually built this country.
But
I don't see how anybody can dispute that.
But again, you didn't build this country.
That's not enough.
So what?
Ooh, pause it. Pause that shit. Oh, Mud, you had something to say first, but go ahead, Mud. You talk.
No, I was just saying the fighter pilot shit, the 1 trillion, whatever he said, that's not enough.
Yeah,
Nope.
it's not.
That's crumbs. It's still more than Marianne Williamson's punk ass was talking about.
5 million slaves, and then family of 4, and multiply that, 40 acres and a mule, we'd be talking about trillions of dollars. Well, that's not going to happen. But
it's still I'm sorry, Karen. I'm gonna stop talking about y'all favorite Karen. I saw she was talking about
our favorite Karen.
I saw y'all favorites, Karen. I saw on Jimmy Dore. I didn't watch it yet. Talking about how the Democrats lie. You was the one out here telling people to vote for Joe Biden. Boo boo. We see you.
who was on the left of the political spectrum, I'll tell you this. The fact that the Democratic Party, including Joe Biden, have drifted further to the right than I would wish, and that many of us would wish, are like 2 broken arms and 2 broken legs. The presidential agenda of Donald Trump, however, is like a bullet near the heart. So I'm very clear, and many Republicans and many Democrats are very clear that we have to take care of first things first. Once Biden is inaugurated, we can duke all of these things out. But right now we have an emergency on our hands, and that is breaking the free fall of our democratic freedoms.
About no, we gotta vote for Joe Biden because girl, you was telling us to eat. You was telling us to eat that $500 billion like a sick dick. I can't fuck with you.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all,
I agree.
Karen. I'm gonna write that one down.
Y'all,
that's a quote.
Karen.
Okay, so what got me is the fact that sorry, someone just replied to one of my comments on his video. The fact that he straight up told Charlamagne the God that he didn't do anything to build this country, that blew me. That was so fucking insulting.
It was better than when he called himself a house nigga.
We'd love to have you work in the fields with us. Work in the fields? That's part of that. That's Senator. I'm a house nigga. No, it's
yeah, but like
never forget.
Another day, Sam. Another day.
Never forget.
But for him to just say that to Charlamagne the God, like I'm not a big fan of Charlamagne too much, but you gonna let that white man tell you didn't build this country? Are you? That you didn't.
When Donald Trump bitch ass said that we built this country,
right? You're gonna let
the white liberal racists tell you that we did it. Mm-hmm. That's what y'all get. All this talking about immigrants built this country got y'all noses wide open, and we about to come and fucking shove some salt up that shit. Wake up, bitch! Wake up!
That blew me. Continue.
Let's go.
Look at Charlamagne's eyes and shit.
He look bug-eyed.
He look all pressed. He all look like Cynthia Erivo.
Oh Lord.
Is that you?
I'm saying we can't write a check to a ghost. You know.
Why not?
Why not? Because
especially when the ghost's descendants are still
that's a
here.
Of $14.5 trillion. That was roughly 1 year's worth of the US GDP at the time. In the meantime, if I compound it further up to today, it's between 18 and 20 trillion dollars in current currency. Each year it increases, so there is an incentive built in. The sooner we pay off reparations, the better for both sides. But that's usually not considered. There is somehow this idea that inheritances dissolve over time, but they don't. They actually accumulate in more and more hands usually, and they earn interest, and the inheritance itself grows. And it currently earns interest in the hands of those whose ancestors did not do the hard work. Whereas those individuals whose ancestors did do the hard work are excluded from those benefits. And that is a present day injustice that in my mind requires a form of reparation.
Listen, let me ask you a question. How do you right the wrong of slavery then?
Well, I mean, I think reparations can come in many forms.
Why not? Cash is king.
Frank,
It's America.
No, I agree. I mean, I think reparations do come in many forms. We should be spending much, much more on the schools that serve Black children.
Boom. First thing, education does not close the racial wealth gap. Period. So you can give us all the education you want. Niggas got degrees and are broke as fuck.
What we get wrong about closing the racial wealth gap. Myth 1. Greater educational attainment or more work effort on the part of Blacks will close the racial wealth gap. A common sense hypothesis ascribes disparities in wealth mainly to differences in the level of education. A college degree is associated with higher earnings and more stable employment, even in times of economic crisis. Families with college-educated heads appear to accumulate more wealth than families with heads with lower levels of education over a lifetime. Therefore, higher education often has been touted as the great equalizer, as a mechanism to reduce the wealth gap between whites and Blacks. According to this logic, we would expect Blacks and whites with similar levels of education to display comparable levels of wealth. Figure 1 summarizes our findings when we compare wealth levels for heads of households with the same educational attainment across racial groups. Both for Blacks and whites, median household wealth increases as the head of household obtains higher levels of education. However, it is apparent that for Blacks getting a college degree or a graduate degree is far from sufficient to close the wealth gap. At every level of educational attainment, the median wealth among Black families is substantially lower than white families. White households with a bachelor's degree or postgraduate education, such as with a PhD, MD, and JD, are more than 3 times as wealthy as Black households with the same degree attainment. Moreover, on average, a Black household with a college-educated head has less wealth than a white family whose head did not even obtain a high school diploma. It takes a postgraduate education for a Black family to have comparable levels of wealth to a white household with some college education or an associate degree. Furthermore, low family wealth can have an adverse effect on the next generation's educational attainment. Family wealth is a predictor of both college attendance and college completion. Black students are more likely to take on student loans and accumulate student loan debt, and they are more likely than white students to drop out of a university because of financial concerns. Ironically, their wealth position could deteriorate because of their intense motivation to pursue higher education. Another commonly held misconception is that Black families have a cultural predisposition to undervalue education. Black families are alleged to invest insufficiently in their children's education. However, the best evidence indicates that Black families, controlling for household type and socioeconomic status, tend to be more supportive than white families of their children's education through direct financial support. Black parents who provide some support for their children's higher education have 2/3 of the median net worth of white parents who provide no support for their children's higher education. For given levels of household income, parental educational attainment, and/or parental occupational status, Black youth also get more years of schooling and acquire more credentials than white youth whose parents have a similar status. While education does not appear to be the great equalizer, it could be argued, alternatively, that hard work can close the wealth gap. Since Blacks face a higher unemployment rate than whites at every level of education, the difference in wealth ultimately could be due to the difference in employment status. If that were the case, we would observe similar levels of wealth for Blacks and whites with similar employment statuses. But Figure 2 contradicts such an expectation. As one would expect, the median household wealth is higher for employed families than for unemployed families in both races. However, white households with an employed head have more than 10 times higher wealth than similar Black households. Furthermore, white households with an unemployed head have a higher net worth than Black households with a head who is working full-time. In addition, higher levels of household income are not associated with significant reductions in the racial wealth gap. Figure 3 shows how black families have much lower wealth than white families even when they have comparable earnings. In particular, black households in the lowest 20% of the income distribution essentially have zero net worth, while the poorest white families have on average $15,000 to $18,000 in net worth. Even belonging to the highest quintile does not make black families as wealthy as whites. Their median wealth is approximately half of that of white families in the same income quintile. The pattern is evident. Studying hard and working hard clearly is not enough for black families to make up their marginalized financial position.
There are people serving you Starbucks with a fucking bachelor's degree or a master's, serving you fucking coffee that you're complaining about.
That was me. When I graduated from college, I wore a fucking green apron for 4 years. For 4 years and 5 months. Dang. Like, and all my customers were like, oh my gosh, you're so smart, Dr. J, you're so smart, you're so smart, you're so smart. Hell yeah, I'm smart. Why am I serving you coffee? Half the motherfuckers I was serving coffee never even had a college degree.
Yeah, I mean that's a kid's job. You know what I mean? That's somebody who's working their way through school or getting through high school. You know what I mean? That's a bullshit. Yeah, but just for those of you, there'll be a link in the description. What we get wrong about closing the racial wealth gap. All right, it'll dispel all that nonsense you hear with the data.
Yeah, all the shit that they basically about to say, because everything they're about to say does not close the racial wealth gap. It just shows that you're some out of touch white people who have not taken any time to do any research on this. Bill Maher has always been showing his hood. He's been showing his hood for years. Bill Maher is paternalistic towards black people. He wants to be a white savior, and he wants Negroes to sit down and shut the fuck up. He kind of reminds me of Marianne Williamson in that front. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do for you niggas, and you're gonna sit here and love me because I fuck with you niggas. What? They don't fuck with niggas. I do.
Yeah, right.
All right, anybody else got anything before we move on?
Yeah. So what Dr. J described is like, you know, the biggest points that you'll find in what we get wrong about the racial wealth gap. You know, the thing about college educated black households having like $10,000 less than households with white college dropouts. That whole thing.
It's more than that. It's more than that. Yeah, white college dropouts have a significant amount more than black college graduates with bachelors.
Yeah. It's bad. Well, I mean, what she was describing is how that happens. You know, like just because we get the paper doesn't mean the opportunities open up for us. But what it does mean is that we usually have like a large debt that we have on top of everything else we got going on. And essentially we got to find these jobs that we could have had if we just went out of fucking high school and got a fucking job. Like,
yep, and kept it. And not spent all that money on college. Yeah. Listen, so outside of my network, I'm talking about my high school network, right? For everybody that I like grew up with and went to high school with, the person who's doing the best is the white dude who didn't go to college and fucking is a bartender. He owns 2 houses. He got a better life than every black person I know who I grew up with who got a college degree. He make more money. He got more assets. He able to have a wife, some kids. Way better life than the niggas who went to college and got degrees. High school, graduated, bartender.
That's the hustle, you know. It's you know, wealth and getting in these networks that your parents have been cultivating for years. You know that.
No, he's poor white trash. Don't get it fucked up. He ain't even got network. He's poor white trash. No, he's poor white trash, but he's not super poor white trash. Like his grandparents are Greek, so they had like a nice house in like LA suburbs. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't know who ended up with the house. I don't know where that shook out because there's a lot of people in the family. You understand what I'm saying? But he's not like a network white. he's poor white trash. And as poor white trash, he was still able to have a good ass middle class life.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Even as poor white trash, we don't know how the relationships he's had throughout his life that were only afforded him because of his whiteness have helped him get to where he is. Like, who hired him to getting that good job as a bartender? You know what I mean? It's stuff like that. I mean, because bartenders in LA, from what I understand, make a grip. So
you can make a mint, especially as a white one. In the right place.
Yep, good looking white boy. He gonna get some tips.
He wasn't good looking, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying. All right, so anybody got anything before we go?
Nope.
Yeah, I got something else.
Okay, go man.
All right, so this thing with education, like he didn't even go into it like being specific about like college education. So the way I took it is that he's just talking about investing in schools in Black communities.
Yeah, primary schools. And where are the Black communities? Because my community is 60% Latino. So does this count as a Black community or is it a Latino community? Or is it a mixed community?
That's a good question.
Like there's a lot of places where Black people live and in a Black community. I did not grow up in a Black community. I grew up in the suburbs with a bunch of white people. So if I was growing up now where I grew up then, I wouldn't get shit because I don't grow up in a Black community, but my mama still would have been struggling. The fuck?
But more importantly, like I thought we had Supreme Court decisions like 60, 70 years ago that was supposed to do this for us. We're supposed to speak out the resources in the school systems. Like
so fixing the school system isn't reparations? So you're saying giving shit to everybody isn't reparations?
What,
doing? That's just being American?
Yeah. Yes, I am saying that doing the things that you're supposed to be doing for American citizens is not a form of reparations to make up for a harm you did to American citizens.
I agree.
Absolutely. All right. Let's finish this out so we can skate out of here.
You know we ain't gonna skate out of here. We got like another 30 minutes with how slow we go with this BS.
We should be spending much, much more on the infrastructure in predominantly Black communities. We should be doing all sorts of things to close the opportunity gap, which is enormous and which we've done a terrible job closing. A debt is owed, and that's one of the ways you repay it.
Simple as that.
No, fuck your opportunity. I want outcomes. Opportunity is a scam. I want equal outcomes. Fuck your opportunity. You've been talking about equal opportunity since the motherfucking 60s. Fuck your opportunity. Your opportunity is bullshit. We see through you. Fuck your opportunity. I want equal outcomes. Shit, we should be doing better because we built this motherfucker.
Exactly. They killed equality after they killed Fred Hampton. No more equality talk to me. This is equity. This is repair for Black Americans who descend from child slavery. And I'm talking elevation. White people get scared, no matter if they're Republican, no matter if they're Democrat, no matter if they're progressive, when I say that Black people need to be elevated. What do you mean elevate? Elevated. Motherfucker. Elevated. You killed equality after you killed Fred Hampton. Hell, y'all killed equality after you killed King because he marched for that shit till the day he died. No more equality. You missed your mark.
I want equity. Yeah, fuck your equality. I want equity. I want my piece of the pie. I want my cut. Equality is not my cut.
Yep. We've done it. We've given to America and given and given and given and given and given.
Blood, sweat, tears. Our shit's in the fucking bones of this country.
Yep. Our blood and everything is right here buried in this ground. It is what it is. All right, Mud, what you got?
Yeah. All right. So let me just explain what he just did, right? So I owe you, let's say this is a scenario, MG, where I owe you 10 grand.
And I want my money. Go ahead.
You want your money. You show up and you say, hey, Mud, I need my fucking money. What's going on? And I say to you, MG, you know what? You're right. I'm going to pay you back by helping you get like a job interview with someone. So it's like, so you're not even guaranteed to get the fucking job. I'm giving you an opportunity. That's how I'm going to repay you back for that 10,000 that I owe you.
Nah, nigga,
that's what he's saying to us.
That's how you get shot.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a bunch of bullshit. Like you guys were saying before, infrastructure, education. This is the shit the country is supposed to do for us, right? So the country failed to do that. So fix that, but that's separate from what's owed to us.
No, I want HBO to pay Bill in free college. And no, for real. So Bill, so that $1 million that you gave to Obama, no more giving Bill where he has $1 million to give away. Bill, you've made enough money. From now on, we're going to pay you in free college, free health care, and what's that other shit they like to tell us about? Some cheap
affordable housing.
Yeah, some affordable housing. So from now on, Bill, that's what you get. You get a housing voucher. You get a fucking, you get some fucking free health care, and you get some free college. That's what you get. We don't give you a salary no more.
And none of those may be where you live, so we'll work it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, Bill.
You live in LA, so there's only 5% Negroes in LA, so you might have to move states. If you might have to move to a Black community to get that shit. And most Black communities are in the Black Belt South.
Yep. So it is what it is. Sorry, Bill. All right, fam. Let's move on. We got to get through this. I'm gonna shut my mouth.
The problem I have with the reparations conversation is the questions you were asking a moment ago. It's practically a non-starter. I mean, in terms of practicality, no one's going to agree on the terms. No one's going to agree exactly on the eligibility criteria. Nobody's going to agree on the amount, and it's politically very unpopular. And while we're talking about something that I don't think is passable, and that's why Obama didn't talk about it.
Why is it not passable, though?
What?
Why is it not passable?
Look at public opinion polls. It's just not going to get done, and that's.
Yeah. Public opinion polls have been shifting. They have shifted remarkably over the last 3 to 5 years.
Faster than gay marriage.
Yep, faster than gay marriage. Think about that. Reparations is shifting faster than gay marriage. That's number one. Number two, for something to pass Congress, popularity means absolutely fucking nothing.
Speak on it.
Right.
Popularity doesn't mean shit for stuff passing.
How popular? When did they poll us about paying the Jews reparations when Obama was in office? Nobody called my fucking phone and asked me for a fucking poll about that shit.
Nope.
It happened. It passed. I found out about it years later.
Yeah. And think about let's
my
talk
tax
about,
money was paid, and I'm not going to tell the government, fuck you, I'm not paying my taxes. And if you don't like, for all white people who don't want to pay reparations because they feel some type of way, please do not pay your taxes.
See how that works out for you. Yeah. So I mean,
I hope they Wesley Snipes that ass.
So we spend most of our shows bashing leftists, and they deserve every bit of it, and they're going to get more. So this is not an apology of any sort, because more coming, right? So if we think about all the shit that they've been screaming about for the last 5, 6, 7 years, we talk about Medicare for all, something like 75%. UBI is over 50%. You know, what's Medicare for all, UBI, $15 minimum wage? That's through the roof as far as popularity is concerned, or as far as what the polls say, right?
Green New Deal.
Green New Deal. All that shit is popular, but it's not passing. But shit that is passing has horrible popularity. Who wanted tax cuts for the rich? Who signed up for that? Right? So fuck all that bullshit. This is just excuses not to do what's right.
And the fact that go ahead.
Go ahead, no, Dr. J. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And the fact that this white guy is so calm about saying, "Oh, it's not going to happen." My thing is, I want him to get by the end of this year. I want white folk to be nervous to say some shit like that to any Black person.
We're not going to take it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So by December of 2021, if a white person say, "Hey, I don't think reparations, I disagree with reparations, I have a problem," I want them to be scared. I want them to. I want that shit to be like thunder.
He said N-word.
Around with some baby powder.
He said N-word.
Pop them with a twisted.
But honestly, I think we're getting there. Again, listen to how the audience is reacting to this guy and what Bill's saying versus how they're reacting to what Charlamagne says. Right? We have to see these things as, honestly, this is a huge change of pace, right?
That is true.
Yeah, this
Bill Maher's audience is better than Bill, but Bill is at best a centrist.
Yeah, but I'm not. But again, you guys know my philosophy. These kind of interactions aren't about who's talking; it's about who's listening.
No, I agree. Right? I agree. So, hey, listen, they talk about reparations on Real Time with Bill Maher, so we have arrived. We
are somebody.
If you think about it, when we started doing this work all these years ago, nobody was talking about reparations.
Yeah, And just a quick kudos to Mud. Mud started a room in Clubhouse today. Well, you don't even know the date, but Mud had a Clubhouse room today, and we were talking about this particular video, and people, a couple of Black Republicans came there talking about they got flipped on reparations. So this is we're moving some things here. We're moving some things, and some people who were in that room had not been talking about reparations or didn't know the facts and the data about it. They were like, "Oh wow, this is totally different than what I thought it was going to be." Once you start talking about it, and which is why I think people have been always fought to keep this discussion down, right, at the cost of people's lives, is because it's hard to it's impossible to refute. It's impossible to refute, and procrastination doesn't clear you of fucking people over. It never has, and it never will. Never will.
And I know this sounds odd, but I think, strangely enough, Candace Owens is going to get on this. I know it sounds funny, but I think she's going to say yes to the reparations. I think she's going to. I know it sounds odd.
But the crazy thing is, for right wingers, this is an end around this is the end around they've been looking for to undermine the Black folks for the Democrats. This is this is their end around. This is their, what is that, annexation of Puerto Rico from the Little Giants? I don't know if y'all saw that movie. This is their play. That was a crazy trick play. Never mind. We'll talk about it some other time. But this is the play that they need to flip the script on the Democrats, right? And they're authoritarians. If their leadership accepts it, it's a wrap.
Oh yeah, it is.
It's an absolute wrap.
2022 is gonna be a bloodbath. Period.
Oh, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. And we'll talk about that later. All right, Mud, what you got, man?
Yeah, we should talk about it now. They took off that extra $100 for the unemployment. They won't do $15 an hour minimum wage. They slashed the fucking stimulus check. I'm waiting for the red. Who else is waiting for the red wedding? I'm waiting for the red wedding for 2024. I'm gonna be sitting there listening to the winds of Castamere.
I'll be reading the play Macbeth.
All right.
I'm gonna have my Tyrion mask on.
Yeah, with the fucking shit to block the arrows and shit.
Yeah,
so this shit about to be ugly.
It's gonna be what you got, Mud? Oh, did you say something? I'm old.
Yeah, I just want to echo your point about how, Republicans could really just wrap this whole thing up and make this like a one-party system if they get on the reparations thing, because really if the Democrats lose the Black vote, there's nothing for them. Like they have they have no options. And honestly, like, you're gonna see some wild shit if they flip like that, because there's nothing that white people love more than arguing with other white people about how they're not the racists. So conservatives will have a fucking field day with this shit if they really got on board.
It's so hard. Oh my God.
And since Republicans fight anyway, the Democratic Party, they don't fight. They're in this invisible compromise. Nigga, we passed that compromise shit since the fucking 19th century. Y'all late. These motherfuckers are fighting with knives, guns, pitchforks. Like they don't care.
They're not compromising. They all on the same team. How you gonna compromise when y'all on the same team?
Right. It's invisible.
So we compromise because we like the same shit. Like. We're not compromising on any differences. It's just different degrees. Like, do you want chimichurri with that steak, or do you want some A1?
Yeah, invisible compromise.
Hey, this is MG from Reset Race. We're growing and so is our mission. Because of this, we're looking for volunteers to join our team. The skills we need most right now are researchers, video editors, and men and women to do voiceovers. If you're interested in helping out, go to actifypress.com/volunteer. Again, actifypress.com/volunteer. We hope to hear from you soon. Peace and justice from myself and the rest of the Reset Race crew.
Listening to Reset Race, you now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race, you're now tuned in to Reset Race. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them, put them back on the grill again. We grilling them, put them back on the grill again. We grilling them, back on the grill again. We grilling them, You're listening to Reset Race. ADOS need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. We focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake. Lineage go back to U.S. Southern plantations. Lineage, Jim Crow and mass incarceration. Redline and lynchings. We are old from this nation. You're not about justice if you ain't for reparations. MG the wise one. Cousin Mother intellectual. Samantha bringing fire. Anti-black, we pressing you. No permanent friends and no permanent enemies. The backbone of the country. To win, you need our energy. You gon' see. Listening to Reset Race. You now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race. You're now tuned in to Reset Race. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Back on the grill again. We grilling them. You're listening to Reset Race. ADOS need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. We focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake.